Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9,
WORD.
the voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome to the program on your Monday afternoon, the Monday after Thanksgiving. So I got a question for you. How much weight did you put on? How much weight did you put on? JJ, give me a number. Do you know? 10 pounds? Oh my gosh. You came back to work with an extra chin there. That's not good. 10 pounds. Wow, that's pretty amazing. So anyway, 2.5 for me. 2.5. I'm very, very happy about that. I did pretty darn good. Well, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I have had my fill of pies. I've had my fill of dressing. And we still got a lot of turkey to go through, and I'm looking forward to having that for dinner tonight when I get home. But as I was sitting over Thanksgiving, contemplating what all we have to be thankful for, and it is a lot to be thankful for, but we've also got some serious issues going on in this country. And it has occurred to me, and not for the first time, that the Democrats do not want this nation to succeed. Not in the way that it is going now. And all you got to do is just look at what they're against. Look at what they're against. And that will tell you everything that they are for. President Trump is trying to stop illegal drugs from coming into this country. They're totally against that. Oh, no, totally against that. They're trying to stop unvetted Afghans from coming into this country and doing things like happened on Wednesday. They're totally against that. We're trying to stop all illegal aliens from coming into this country, driving down wages, driving up the price of housing, driving up the cost of insurance, driving up the cost of everything. And they're totally against that. And the reason for that is they are Marxist. Now, we've said this before, and it's never been more obvious. They are Marxist. They do not like even the idea that you can have individual freedom, individual liberties in this country. They hate that. Anytime they find you out there enjoying yourself, what do they always want to do? Next thing, they want to tax it. They want to tax it. They want to make your joy and your freedoms, it has to come with a price. These people want to literally import our own demise. And they're going to use the Cloward-Piven strategy to do it. Now, the Cloward-Piven strategy says you increase social spending to a point where it's unsustainable and everything starts to break down. And then when everything breaks down, people will scream for socialism. This has been the plan the whole time, and it's the plan right now. That's why they want to import all of these people who are living off of all these social services. Oh, there's not one illegal alien that's getting a SNAP benefits. That's a bunch of BS. There's not one illegal alien that is getting health insurance. Oh, that's BS. Oh, illegal aliens commit less crime than natural-born Americans. That's BS. That is absolutely BS. I'll give you an example. Let's say you've got 100 people. You've got 100 people. You've got 80 Americans, and you've got 20 illegal aliens. And of these 80 Americans, you have 20 of them commit crimes. So you've got 20 crimes committed by Americans. But you've got 10 crimes committed by illegal aliens. Well, if you look at those numbers, you go, wow, Americans commit twice as much crime as illegal aliens. But if you look at the rate, 50% fewer crimes are committed by natural-born Americans per capita than by illegal aliens. But they want to pass all of that stuff on you like it's so much BS. That's what they want to feed. That's the same thing they wanted to do with Obamacare. Obamacare was meant to fail. You push all of this stuff out there, and who's going to buy the insurance? It's not going to be the young, healthy people. It's not going to be the young, 24, 25, 26 years old. I think 26-year-old after 26, because you can stay on your mommy and daddy's after 26, up to 26. But these 27, 28, 29-year-olds, they're not going to go out there and buy insurance. You know who is going to buy the insurance? The older people. This thing was literally a pyramid scheme, and it is collapsing now. So what do the Democrats want? They want more subsidies. The Affordable Care Act? Affordable Care Act? Nothing about it has been affordable. Absolutely nothing. And then these Democrats, now they're trying to, oh, no, nobody's illegal there. No, that's BS. Oh, no, these are just civil offenses. No, that's BS. You cannot. It is a crime, not a civil crime. It is a federal crime to enter this country illegally. Federal crime. But they want to make it out like it's not one. They want to destroy this country. They want to import the things that will destroy us. I want you to keep a very close eye on this race coming up tomorrow in the 7th District of Tennessee. This congressional race between Afton Ben and Van Epps. That is going to be telling. Donald Trump won that district by 22%, 22 points in the election. If Afton Ben wins this election over Van Epps tomorrow in Tennessee, that is not going to spell that it's not going to be good for the midterms. It really isn't. It truly isn't. And if the Democrats get back in power, they're going to try to throw everybody in jail, starting with Pete Hegseth. They're going to try well, we all know they're going to try to impeach Trump. So just be aware of that. But these Democrats are literally, well, I mean, look, that's why they want unfettered abortion, to drive down the birth rate. That's why they want single-parent households, to drive down the family unit. That's why they want to have horrible education systems, to drive down the education, to make sure that you're not educated. Look at it. When you look at these things, when you look at all the things the Democrats are doing, always think of it this way. How does this fit in to the plan? How does it fit into the plan? Because that's exactly what it is. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
This is Mark Levin. Join me tonight at 7 following Charlie James for the Mark Levin Show. A News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Let your fingers do the talking.
Text the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line at 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, let's go to the WRD talk line. We'll talk to Michelle in Pelzer. Michelle, welcome.
Well, hello, Charlie.
How are you?
I am doing absolutely fantastic, but I have to disagree with you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you said that if 100 people were taken and 80 were Americans and 20 were illegal aliens, that maybe 20 people out of the American group would commit a crime, and only 10 would come from the illegal group. Well, you're wrong.
Okay.
100% of the illegal group committed a crime.
Okay,
They
yeah,
were
we
illegal.
all right, Michelle. I'm not gonna argue semantics about this. I know every illegal alien is here illegally. That's why I use the term illegal alien. Right?
Then after they commit
all
more
right.
crimes.
I understand, but you missed the point. You missed the point that I was trying to make. These are the talking points that the Democrats are putting out there. That illegal aliens commit fewer crimes than the Americans. That's just not true. Number one, they're here illegally. That's a crime. Number two, by rate per capita, they actually commit more crimes than actual Americans. So please don't be so wrapped up in being right that you don't understand what I'm saying. A lot of people make that mistake all the time. So on Wednesday, I had every plan to come in and do a fun, wonderful Thanksgiving program. We're going to talk about all the things we were thankful for. We're going to talk about the recipes. We're going to talk about the food you were going to be having. But all of that was upset when we found out that 2 National Guard members had been shot just blocks away from the White House in Washington, D.C. Sarah Beckstrom, 20 years old, Army specialist from the 863rd Military Police Company and the 111th Engineer Brigade from the West Virginia Army National Guard, died from her wounds. Andrew Wolf, 24 years old, Staff Sergeant, Force Support Squadron 167th Airlift Wing, West Virginia Air National Guard, is at this moment clinging for life. We do hear that he is responding to nurses. He continues to need your prayers. It is going to be a very long road for this young man if he survives. And right now, that's looking better and better by the minute. It's going to be a very long road to recovery. The man who shot them was an Afghan national who came here after the disastrous withdrawal by the Biden administration in Afghanistan. And there is no one out there that says that this was a successful withdrawal. They loaded up C-130s, whatever it is, C-17s, with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Afghan nationals, and they flew them into the United States, and they granted them asylum without vetting them. Now, they tried to tell you that these people were vetted, but they were not. In fact, Anthony Blinken was over with Laura Ingraham, and he admitted as such.
In our effort to get as many people out as fast as we can, while we had the airport functioning, we focused on doing just that, and we're doing accountings on the back end as people arrive in the United States.
Doing accountings on the back end. So after they got here, they decided to go through the vetting process. How thorough do you believe that vetting process was? I don't think it was very strenuous, very detailed at all. I think it was haphazard at best. I mean, after all, if you've got a country like Afghanistan that really has no central form of government, who's keeping records on these people? Nobody. Nobody's keeping records on these people. So what does the president say? He says, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at every single person that came in during that airlift out of Afghanistan, and we're going to make sure that all of them are who they say they are. And they're going to do what the Biden administration should have done. And again, going back to the last segment, guess who's against that? Not only is he going to do that, he's going to halt any more Afghanis from coming into the United States. And guess who's against that? The Democrats are against that. Because they know there are radical Islamists in that group. They know they're there, but they don't care. That doesn't bother them. They're all right with people who shout Allahu Akbar. They're all right with people that shout death to America. They're all right with people who want to come here and just live off the government dole. Those are their kind of people. They love that. Let's go to Lee in Columbus, North Carolina. Lee, welcome.
Hey, welcome. Happy holiday.
Yes, sir.
Charlie, I hope you ate too much turkey. Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
Absolutely. I absolutely ate way too much. Hope you did too, Lee. What's on your mind?
I did. Well, in terms of the Muslim situation in our country, I mean, first of all, they are not compatible at all with any culture except their own. They don't play nice with anybody. They're openly saying that they're going to take over Europe and especially America.
Yeah.
And even Tlaib and Omar are out there. They're all chanting death to America in our own country.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand why we tolerate it. I don't understand why we allow it. But here's...
I know. When are we going to get these people out of our country? They need to be out.
I agree 100%. Thank you, Lee. I agree. Because the vast majority of them, and I'm not talking about every single one of them, because there are some out there that came to America and say, damn, I love this. Let's do it that way. This is awesome. But there's more of them out there that says, no, I want to make this just like the place that we left. And all these women, all of these young college-educated women, they are for this. They're okay with it. Do they not do any? Well, we found out that young people just aren't consuming news anymore. They just, they get their little clips off of TikTok and X or whatever, and that's it. And they only listen to what's in their sound chamber. But the young white woman, they're the ones that want these people to come here. For what reason? Do you know what's going to, there's a reason that Sweden is the rape capital of the world? Did you know there's a reason for that? Did you know there's a reason why England is a strong number 2 for being the rape capital of the world? It's not because the Swedish or the British are out there committing all of these rapes. It's because of the people that they have allowed into their country. They're committing them. And who are they more interested in throwing in jail? The law-abiding. There was a guy from England that came to Florida for vacation. And I'm not even making this up. This is 100% true. Guy came from England to Florida on vacation, and he went to a shooting range, and he posted a photograph of himself shooting a shotgun, and he put it on his LinkedIn page. When he got back to England, he was arrested. What was he arrested for? Because that picture might have been disturbing to someone. So they took him to jail. He had to get a lawyer. He had to defend himself. He had to make a court appearance. He had to go through all of that time, all of that expense, had his name dragged through the mud, and then England said, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. There's really no reason for us to arrest you. You see, the process is the punishment. That's the punishment. The hell that you've got to go through to clear your name. Meanwhile, they're letting people, they literally let a man go. Gosh, this world is so crazy. And this is another absolutely true story. They let a man go for raping a woman because the rape didn't last long enough. That actually happened. Unbelievable. That's the world we live in. And when you look in Washington and you look at those people that are sitting in Congress and go, what are you doing about this? What bills have you written that is going to stop all of this? Their answer is to just shrug their shoulders. Huh? The reason they don't do anything about it is because they don't want to do anything about it. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
When the left spins, Charlie sets it straight. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Text or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome back to the program. Well, one thing that has happened over the weekend, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but gas prices have come down.
This morning, some states seeing gas prices below $3 for the first time in years. Let's get to CNN's Matt Egan for the good news on this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to finally be here with some good news on the cost of living front. So for the first time in 4.5 years, gas prices are averaging $3 a gallon nationally, according to AAA, down by 7 cents in just the past week. Gas prices were low a year ago as well, but they're even cheaper now. This is encouraging to see because late last month there was a period where gas prices were actually higher this year than last year, but that has reversed again, and now we've just fractions of a penny away from breaking below $3 a gallon. Now, as you mentioned, we've got 20 states across the country where the average is actually less than $2.75 a gallon, including North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Colorado as well. Certainly nice to see this. Why is this happening? Well, it all comes down, of course, to oil prices, right? Oil prices are about $59 a barrel this morning. If you look back in history, on December 1, 3 years ago, we're looking at $81 a barrel for oil, $67 even last year. So significantly cheaper. And that's because right now, supply of oil continues to outpace demand. It's U.S. supply. Production in the U.S. is at all-time highs. It's higher than last year, but only a little bit higher. OPEC is the big story, though, right? Saudi-led OPEC, they are ramping up production substantially this year. They've signaled that they plan to pause those output hikes next year. But for now, look, this is a good story when it comes.
And it's a good story for the Trump economy. A very good story. Now, they said we here in South Carolina are averaging below $2.75 a gallon. I guess I've seen a couple of places as I drove around over the Thanksgiving holiday and weekend. Couple of places were hitting $2.64, $2.65 a gallon. But those were kind of few and far between. A lot of the places that I notice while I'm out are right there off the interstate. And we all know the gas stations right off the interstate usually charge more because that's where you're going to go when you're running low, right? Yeah, you're going to pay whatever they charge. But some of the more, I don't want to say off the beaten path gas stations, prices are a lot lower. So that is very good news. And did you hear what he said? That this is because of American oil output. American oil. That's what's doing this. This is why the Trump economy was so good in the first term. Because drill, baby, drill. That's what he was doing. And he's doing it again. He just opened up a huge patch of the Alaskan wilderness for oil exploration and drilling, and that's going to make things even better. During the first Trump administration, we became a net exporter of energy, and we're doing it again. Let's go to Ron in Hendersonville. Ron, welcome.
Charlie, how are you?
I'm good, man. What's up?
Just wanted to give you a heads up. We're finding gas in this area around $2.49.
Wow.
Down from about $2.79 over the last couple of months.
$2.49. That's pretty darn good to see, isn't it?
Absolutely. Really glad to see that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Ron. Thank you very much. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. That is very good news, especially going into the holiday season, the Christmas holiday season. That's very good news, especially going into the new year. Because now people can get out there and they can afford to take some of those trips that maybe they put off. They can afford it. But even more than that, it now costs less to ship all of that stuff to the stores. And that brings down the prices. Energy fuels, literally and figuratively, the economy. And what this president has been doing has been pretty darned astounding. Now, I understand that all these people, all the naysayers out there, you had the Marjorie Taylor Greens, blah, blah. They just did not want to be patient. We have had, 11 months of Donald Trump to undo 4 years of Joe Biden? When you get a big old disastrous ship out in the middle of the ocean, you can't turn it around on a dime. It takes a little bit of time. So patience is going to be the key. Yeah, everybody's hurting. I know the price of beef is up there. I know the price of everything is up there. I saw a guy today. He posted a thing. He went to Disney World. Now, please understand, this is Disney World, and they just charge whatever they want. But a large pizza was $86. $86. Holy cow. But again, that's Disney, and people are going to pay. They're there to spend money, and that's what they do. But we know the cost of everything has gone up. It is going to come down eventually. Let's go to Jeff in Easley. Talk about Tampon Tim. How you doing, Jeff?
All right, how you, brother?
I'm good, bud. What's up?
I just was been listening to all this crap going on, but what about Tim Walz? All the corruption that he knows is going on in his state.
Yeah.
And he's so worried about Trump's MRI or whatever it is, his mental health. I mean, why? Why don't he worry about
Deflecting.
his state? And
He's deflecting. That's it. He knows that his social services, and by the way, they were defrauded of. We told you last week it was millions of dollars. No, it was over $1 billion that the Somalis defrauded from the state of Minnesota.
so how did they get away with that?
Well, I guess nobody was looking while they did it. Because hey, these are Somalis. You can't. I'm getting. Do you want to talk about a double standard? Nobody wants to blow the whistles on Somalis. You might be, accused. Oh, and Jeff, I appreciate you calling. That was the thing. Up in Minnesota, they were actually threatening to call people racist if they even questioned what the Somalis were doing in Minnesota. You even question what they're doing. You even wonder where all that money is going. You are a racist. That was the plan. That was the whole plan all along. You don't want anybody to be, oh my gosh, it's the Al Sharpton model. You either give money to my organization or my organization is going to brand your company as being racist and we're going to boycott you. He used that very effectively throughout the years. And now the people of Minnesota, especially in the Somali community, well, they just took his model and used it to the tune of $1 billion. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, this is Tara. Start your day with common sense information and opinion with me on The Tara Show tomorrow morning, starting at 6. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I just find it so ironic that we had 6 senators and congressmen, former intelligence community, former military, put out a video telling our soldiers not to follow illegal orders, not to follow unconstitutional orders, even though they couldn't tell us any that had been done. They do that, and even, what's his name, Mark Kelly was like, well, this is for the future. This is in case something happens in the future. This literally was sedition. You've heard the term color revolution. That is going on right now in this country. They're trying to undermine and ultimately overthrow this president. I want you to listen to Senator Eric Schmidt as he talks about it.
I will point out, though, Harris, one of the crazy things that happened over the weekend, the Democrats, elected Democrats, not some online troll, elected Democrats have been saying it's okay to disobey orders. That's the first step. But what we saw happen this weekend through some of those same elected officials was to say basically to military men and women, look out, you might get prosecuted. This is not the language of we'll beat them in the next election or we'll win the argument. This is the language of a color revolution where you're calling on military men and women to disobey orders, and you put that on top of the firebombing of Tesla dealerships, the riots you see in the streets, the prosecution of a political opponent. The Democrats have completely lost the plot here, and the American people, I think, see that. But it's a very dangerous road to go down here to say you should be disobeying orders because we don't like Trump.
And that's it. That was the only reason. That's the only reason they put out that video. In all 4 years of Joe Biden, with all of the bonehead moves that he made, did you ever see a group of Republicans get together and put out a video like that? No. No. We had 13 American servicemen and women killed by a suicide bomber in Afghanistan. 13 of them. We had an American sniper with the bomber in his sights, had the shot, and he was told to stand down. And because of that, 13 American servicemen and women lost their lives. 13. I literally, the left has no moral high ground anymore. Now they're saying that blowing up drug running boats in some way is unconstitutional or illegal or goes against, international, commits an international war crime. Well, that's a bunch of BS. And here's the thing, though. It's not just the Democrats that are saying it. There's some Republicans out there that go, oh, this definitely needs to be investigated. Shut up. What kind of investigations did you do over the withdrawal of Afghanistan? Who was demoted? Who went to jail? Who was chastised? Who was slapped on the wrist? Nobody. And now we've got 2 West Virginia National Guard members. One's dead, one's clinging for his life because of what Joe Biden did. And it gets worse than that. I mean, that's bad. But now in New York, I'm telling you what, I'm kind of down today. I really am kind of down because I'm seeing all this stuff that's going on. There are these things called flock cameras. And I don't have a good definition of flock camera, but let's see what a flock camera is. A flock camera will take your license plate. All right? It'll take your license plate, right? So it's a license plate reader, okay? So you can find out if somebody, if a crime occurred, somebody robbed a bank, they go back. There was a description of a green sedan leaving the bank. They look, they see it for green sedan, went by the flock camera. They got the license plate number. All right, this person is now a suspect. Okay. In some of these sanctuary cities, do you know what they're doing? They're turning off the flock cameras. This literally 6. So how many cities are doing this? 4, 5, 6? No, 6,000 U.S. cities use flock cameras to track stolen cars, fugitive, and violent offenders. But Democrat sanctuary cities are shutting them down because they help ICE find criminal illegal aliens. Cambridge, Massachusetts paused this system to protect illegal immigrants' privacy. Privacy. They weren't screaming about your privacy when they put up the flock cameras, but now that ICE is using them to track down illegal aliens, now they're worried about privacy. Never objected using these cameras to give you a speeding ticket. Never objected to these cameras issuing you any sort of a traffic violation. But because illegal aliens are better than you, and that's literally what they believe, illegal aliens are better than you, they're going to turn down the flock cameras. A dozen cities, Washington, Oregon, Arizona, and Texas, have suspended their systems in order to block federal. In Texas, y'all watch out for Texas. Texas might go rogue on you. They might go purple. In fact, in New York City, they are leaking incoming ICE raid details. They're not leaking them to the media or just to the media. They're leaking them to the illegal alien community as well to let them know when ICE is coming. Good grief. I'm telling you, we got to get a handle on this country. These states got to start cracking down on this stuff. We are absolutely overrun with what's going on. Charlie, the seditious six are setting the table for this. They plan on attempting a major coup. If the military gets involved, they are threatening with prosecution. Yeah, they are. They're absolutely doing that. They're absolutely doing that. They're setting up a coup. So, let's see. Charlie, cut off all federal funds to sanctuary cities, make them bleed. I would love to see that. Will it happen? No, but I would love to see that. Oh, by the way, did you hear where a judge has just ruled that Elena Haba cannot be the U.S. attorney in New Jersey? Yeah. You guys getting all of this stuff now? You understanding all of this? Yeah, good. All right, we'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour on The Charlie James Show. Afternoons 3 to 7 on News Talk 98.9.
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie.
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
America is back.
And welcome back to the program. We appreciate you tuning in. Thank you very, very much. Hope you guys had a fantastic Thanksgiving. It started off as our Thanksgiving do. Sheila and I got up. I took the pups for a walk, came back, put the turkey in the oven, did a little piddling around the kitchen to get everything ready. And then we sat down on the couch and we watched the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Now, let me start by telling you this. I am fully prepared for the pushback that I'm about to get from some people over on the text line, maybe even a caller or two. I am fully prepared for that. Because you see, I did a video about this over on my X page, over on Twitter. If you're not following me there, I would highly recommend you do that. I'm at Charlie on Air. That's at Charlie on Air. Go follow me over on Twitter. But as we were watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, the imagery that was in that parade was quite disturbing. It truly was. They were pushing that movie Wicked like nobody's business. And I don't know who the woman is that plays the Wicked Witch of the West, the green one. I don't know who she is. But she is everywhere these days with her demonic-looking self. She even, and I don't know celebrity names because I just don't care about celebrities, so I don't bother to learn their names. But her co-star in that movie, have you seen these two together? Have you seen them? It's weird. It is extremely weird. Pushing that movie, extremely weird. We're not talking about The Wizard of Oz here. No, they've taken it to a whole new level. Then you've got the television show Stranger Things with the demon that they have in it. Then the big event of the day at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, the one that everybody was looking forward to, were the K-pop Demon Hunters. The K-pop Demon Hunters. Listen to this. This is, I don't know if this is Savannah Guthrie or what's her name, but listen to this reference. Listen to what they say.
The biggest movies of the year, Netflix is K-pop Demon Hunter. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, and I brought some friends. You did. Hey, check out these brand new balloons. We got Derpy Tiger. We got Sussy. Okay, as you know, in the film, these two are mythical creatures that deliver messages between the human and demon worlds.
Okay. When that came across my television, my wife looked at me and she said, "Did I just hear what I think I heard?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what you heard. You heard them describing creatures that deliver messages between the human and demon worlds." And I could not believe it. I literally could not believe it. So I did this video on this. Let's talk to Wes in Greer and let's see what he did. Wes, did you see that during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade?
Charlie, man, I'm right there with you. Now, listen, I chastised my wife a little bit about always watching NBC, okay? And I told her, I said, this is what what they want you to do. They want to lure you into this, let's bake a cake. And I said, but the demonic message is always there. We're both watching it. And Savannah Guthrie, and they cut to the picture. I think this is that blue-looking cat thing.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Never heard of this thing ever in my life. My wife and I had already made a comment that, boy, none of these people seem to be dressed very festive. It seemed to be kind of dark, a little weird. And then Savannah Guthrie's like, "Oh, he helps the children communicate." I mean, what was it, like their dreams to the demon world?
Yeah.
Or communicate to the demon world.
Right.
And, I have grandkids, and I raised my kids and homeschooled them because I knew, my kids are in their 20s, okay? And I knew that this was going on then. But just exactly the same thing, Charlie. My wife was so disgusted by it. And I said, you tell me what demons have to do with Thanksgiving. And look at NBC, and it's the Paris Olympic opening ceremony. It's something about it, Charlie. They have to flaunt it in our faces. I think the Dark Lord requires that.
You're exactly right, Wes. Exactly right, buddy. I appreciate it. So I had somebody online, and they got in. They sent me a message. "Oh, Charlie, I disagree with you. K-pop Demon Hunters is all about overcoming evil with love. That's what it's all about. It's actually a positive message." Is it? Is it a positive message? Let me ask you something. If I were going to poison you, would I hand you a big brown bottle with a skull and crossbones on it and the word poison and say, "Here, drink this"? No, go ahead, drink this. No, I'm not going to drink that because, Charlie, it says poison right there on it. It's got the skull and crossbones. I'm not drinking that. But if I put that poison into a cake and I baked it and I decorated it really, really pretty and really, really festive, and I said, "Here, have a slice," would you have any objections to that? That's the way evil does. Evil doesn't come in disguised as evil. It never shows its true self. It comes flowery, glittery, peacefully. That's how it comes in. It comes in with love. That's the perception. And people are more than willing to eat a big old slice of it. Anytime you open the door to the demon world, you better be careful because you never know what's going to walk in. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
When nasty weather strikes, stay in the know with the upstate's largest staff of meteorologists 24/7 on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas. Tap and type your message on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, tomorrow they've got a special election in the 7th Congressional District of Tennessee. You've got Van Epps going against a radical, lunatic leftist, Afton Bain. Afton Bain, this young woman, I don't know how you could ever look at her and go, that's the person that I want representing me in Congress. Let's take a listen to just some of the things. Now, the 7th Congressional District in Tennessee, that includes the Nashville area, all right? Nashville is another one of these places that has been overrun with liberals, and it is rapidly going downhill. I wouldn't be surprised if the music industry moved out of Nashville. I really wouldn't. But let's just take a little listen to what Afton Bain says about Nashville and country music.
I've been heavily involved with the Nashville mayoral race because I hate the city, I hate the bachelorettes, I hate the pedal taverns, I hate country music, I hate all of the things that make Nashville apparently an it city to the rest of the country, but I hate it. Yeah, I'm that girl at the airport that all these bachelorettes are giddy walking out in their two-toned colored Pantone pink shirts, and they walk out and I'm like, they're like, oh my God, Nashville is so bad. They're so loud.
Okay, not only that, she likes to bully ICE agents.
Okay, this is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this
Not
is like,
only bullying
this is a win.
ICE vehicles, she's bullying the state troopers as well. And she really, really hates when people pray.
And I think, especially as someone who is more secular, I have a hard time when religion is at the core of everything we do in the legislature. And so, for example, on the House floor, we say a prayer every session. Some committees open up with prayer. We also stand for the pledge. And there are also prayer groups in the legislature that meet routinely. There are Christian pastors that have a lot of say and proximity to power in the legislature and dictate a lot of what the power players do. And it is uncomfortable.
Oh, prayer's uncomfortable to this young lady. Yeah, demons usually run away from prayer, don't they? You can see it in her eyes, how crazy she is. But the scary part of all, the most scary part, is that she could win. She could win this election tomorrow in Tennessee. She fantasizes about a world without police. She approved of burning down police stations. This would give the Democrats another member of Congress. And she's got a list a mile long of attacking police.
Bain also has a mile-long social media history of attacking the police. Here's a post, quote, "Good morning, especially to the 54% of Americans that believe burning down a police station is justified." Those are her words. She also asks, where's the proposal to dissolve the Nashville police? And called on Tennessee teachers' unions to keep schools closed until a number of demands were met. Oh, so shut the government down locally and keep the kids? Where are you going to put the kids? She included police defunding and a wealth tax. In a 2020 interview, Bain encouraged other young people to talk to their parents about abolishing the police.
If it's been difficult for all of you to imagine a world without police, please tune in to maybe not this episode, but the next one, because I'll talk about, things I'm learning and growing as an organizer, because I think, especially for those of us, that are young, and talking to our parents about what police abolition looks like, that, we can do it and there is a world.
And she could win. She could actually win that election. There are people out there openly, actively supporting her. She said she abhorred Nashville. She hated bachelorettes, hated pedal taverns, hated country music. And she's running to represent the Nashville area. Unbelievable. It's blowing my mind. So where do we, if this happens, if Afton Bain wins that election tomorrow, where do we place the blame? Do we place the blame on demographics? Do we place the blame on messaging? Do we place the blame on money spent by the RNC to make sure that this seat is secured? I think we place the blame on all of those things. But if this happens tomorrow, we really have to be very, very concerned about the midterm elections. The midterm elections could be, if she wins, an absolute disaster for the Republican Party. If we lose the House, there will be investigations into Pete Hegseth. There will be investigations into Kash Patel. There will be investigations into Donald Trump. They will start impeachment proceedings of Donald Trump. If they win the Senate, well, not a whole lot's going to change there because no bills are getting passed anyway. This is why I'm saying we need to do away with the filibuster. And hopefully, after the midterm elections, that will happen. Hopefully it will. Maybe we'll pick up a few seats in the Senate here or there, but it still won't be enough to get that 60-vote threshold that we're going to need. So let's see what happens. Tomorrow is going to be a very interesting day. But I'm getting a little tired of Republicans not understanding that the word fight is an actual verb, and it means to do something, because it doesn't seem like they want to do a whole lot. You have got a woman that should have never even been close in this race. And some polls have it tied. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. It's all going to come down to tomorrow. And voter turnout. That's why I tell you folks, almost every day I tell you how important it is to get out and vote. Let's take a look. We'll keep an eye on that race coming up tomorrow. It's going to be amazing. New York City is actually harboring over 7,000 known criminal illegal aliens. We'll tell you about it coming up. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Breaking news and what to make of it all with me, Mike Gallagher, tomorrow 10 to noon, right after Tara on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
cloudy.
Chat with Charlie.
800-905-0989. Save it on your phone.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I can't remember the name of the county up in North Carolina. It's the largest county in the state. And I went to the, no, it's not Buncombe County. I went to the inmate registry, inmate lookup. And I was searching all through the criteria for your search, and I found something interesting, and there was no delineation for Hispanic. If you went to look for a Hispanic individual, you would not be able to find one because they're not listed as Hispanic. They're listed as white. There is a guy in Charlotte. Michael Steven Rodriguez Flores. This guy shot 2 people while they were just sitting in their car up in North Carolina. Just shot him. He's an illegal immigrant. On his detainee website page, he is labeled as a white male. White male. I see this is a plan. It really is. Just like they changed the laws, and that's what they were doing in Washington, D.C., and other places, New York, all these places, they were finding out that their crime rate, their violent crime rate was going up too high, and that was not looking good on the police department, and it was not looking good on the mayor. So what they did is they decided to change the definition of a violent crime. You wonder why Zohran Mamdani said that violence is a man-made construct? Oh, okay. Well, that's why. So if somebody walks up to you in Washington, D.C., and just punches you right square in the face, breaks your nose, breaks your glasses, knocks your teeth out, you can rest assured that you are not the victim of a violent crime. No, that was just simple assault. That's all it was. In fact, a lot of times when the investigator shows up to the crime scene, they will immediately downgrade the crime from a violent crime to a non-violent crime because they don't want you to think that they're doing a poor job of policing. And they're doing the same thing with the ethnicity of the criminals. They are literally labeling Hispanic criminals as white, happening all over the country. Because they don't want those crime statistics to come out against the very community that they're trying to protect. New York City confirmed that they are harboring over 7,000 known criminal aliens.
Of justice. We're seeing that these criminal illegal aliens are exiting the jails and going back onto New York or Chicago or these other sanctuary streets to re-perpetuate their crimes. Today, in New York City's jails are 7,169 criminal illegal aliens. We're talking about hundreds of murderers, hundreds of sexual predators, drug traffickers, the worst of the worst. Dan Goldman and these other sanctuary city politicians, they should agree to hand over those individuals, honor those detainers, and then we won't have to flood the zone with our ICE law enforcement. We won't have to put those men and women on the ground because we will get these vicious criminals out of New York City's jails.
Right.
So you have to ask yourself, why are they doing that? Well, I talked about that in the first segment. They are trying to destroy this country from within. And they're trying to use the Cloward Piven strategy to do it. Now, this is twofold. Did you know that under the Biden administration, and Christine Holm actually pointed this out, they allowed over 6,000 6,000 known terrorists into this country. 6,000 of them were on those planes that left Afghanistan and came to the United States of America. They knew these were bad people. That's why they let so many murderers, so many human traffickers, so many drug traffickers, so many gang members cross our southern border under the Biden administration. They were coming here for a reason. And the reason is to destroy our system, to overload our system with people on these social benefits so that they could break the system, and it will be easier to usher in socialism and then easier to usher in communism. Marxism. That is the plan of the Democrat Party. Do not let them tell you any different. That's why Afton Bain and Zohran Mamdani, they want to do away with the police. They want to defund the police because they're going to need those folks. They got the violent experience. They're going to need them. We have got something huge coming to this country. Huge. And you better be ready for it. These jails could easily hand over all of these illegal aliens to ICE and simply have them deported, but they want them here for a reason. And that reason is to ultimately help destroy this country. They're going to give them the right to vote. How many Social Security numbers did the Biden administration give to illegal aliens? How many? And it all came from that ridiculous parole system that Biden and Mayorkas set up. These are dangerous people. And here's what's happening. They're holding those 169 known criminals in jail in New York until the whole ICE thing dies down. And then they're going to let them go. And your streets are not going to be safe. Your community's not going to be safe. Your city's not going to be safe. Your state is not going to be safe. And this country is not going to be safe. That's the plan, y'all. That's been the plan for a while. Charlie, all of these terrorists led into the United States of America, my country, and there will be no accountability for these crimes. You're right. There will be no accountability. There won't be. Charlie, it's Wake County. That's right. Wake County. That's the website I saw, and then Mecklenburg County is a little behind that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But we know, here's the thing, though. We know what's going to happen. We know. We told you. We told you something was going to happen. And sure enough, on Wednesday, a guy in Washington, D.C. executed and attempted to execute 2 National Guardsmen. 2 National Guardsmen. 1 man, 1 woman. She passed away. He's still clinging for life. We told you that was going to happen. And I'm telling you right now, there's going to be an even bigger event, and it's going to be involving ICE. And what happens after that? I have no idea. I have no idea. But these Democrats are 100% to blame. And now, now you know what they want to do? They want to get rid of the people who are prosecuting those folks. They want to get rid of Pete Hegseth, who is trying to keep drugs from coming into this country. They want to get rid, certainly they want to get rid of Kristi Noem. They're trying on that. But their latest victim was Alina Habba, a district judge, a U.S. attorney in New Jersey. A judge, well, I'll tell you about that coming up next. Tell you about that. So they do not want us to defend ourselves. They want no defense of this country. They want us to be ripe for the picking. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Get breaking news sent straight to your phone for free. Download the Odyssey app. Follow News Talk 98.9 WORD. Stay in the know with the voice of the Carolinas.
on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. Text or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I always say it's not what the law says. It's who enforces the law. That's the real issue. You could have something that is illegal all day long, and then if nobody enforces the law, what good is the law? No good whatsoever. It doesn't mean anything. It's just words on paper. So we all know that the left does not want to enforce the law. They want to let the lawbreakers into this country, and that is what they have done in the past, to our great detriment. So now, what are they trying to do? They're trying to get rid of the people who enforce the law. They want to defund the police. They want to defund ICE. They want to defund everybody except the radical leftist judges, the ones that decide what the law is. They're actually now, well, I'll read this to you from the Daily Caller. A federal appeals court upheld a decision today finding that Alina Habba is disqualified from serving as U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey. The Third Circuit Court of Appeals agreed with the defendants who argued that her appointment was unlawful. Habba is not the acting U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey by virtue of her appointment as First Assistant U.S. Attorney because only the First Assistant in place at the time the vacancy arises automatically assumes the functions and the duties of the office. That's what the court said. Additionally, because Habba was nominated for the vacant U.S. Attorney's position, the FVRA's nomination bar prevents her from assuming the role as acting U.S. Attorney. A federal judge held that Habba was disqualified in August and found her actions may be declared void. When Habba's initial 120 days temporary appointment expired in July, a panel of federal judges appointed her deputy to head the New Jersey office. Attorney General Pam Bondi responded by removing the deputy and appointing Habba to her position, allowing Habba to assume the role as acting U.S. Attorney. Happens every day. U.S. Attorney's offices are some of the most critical agencies in the federal government, Judge Michael Fisher, a George W. Bush appointee, wrote in the court's opinion. It is apparent that the current administration has been frustrated by some of the legal and political barriers in getting its appointees in place, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. This is going to go to the Supreme Court. And once again, see, this is just a stall tactic by these judges. And yes, even George W. Bush judges. Now look at that administration. These are stall tactics to upend the Trump presidency, to delegitimize the Trump presidency. Meanwhile, you got Joe Biden here. Everything's being signed without his knowledge by the auto pen. But a president that's actually trying to protect this country, and he's got these radical judges out there trying to do away with all his appointments. Charlie, I just don't understand how everything that Trump does, they find a judge that says, I'm sorry, Mr. President of the United States, you can't do that. Well, that's easy. Those judges are easy to find. Those judges, those district attorneys, those solicitors, those circuit court judges that are appointed, those are liberal radicals, and they were appointed by liberal radicals. They're easy to find. Meanwhile, we can't stop a bloomin' thing. That's what gets me. I mean, during the whole Biden administration, you got to go back and you got to look at that election. And you got to look at all those people that were elected. And we're just talking about the Republicans here. Every single Republican said, I will use the power of the purse to stop Joe Biden's radical agenda. They didn't stop anything. They stopped nothing. They stopped no appointments, or very few, I will say. They blocked no legislation. There was never, it seems to me, there was never a lawsuit filed against the Biden administration. Nobody did anything. See, the Republicans just don't know how to play the game. They don't know the moves to make sure that you win. And I don't know if that is by laziness or incompetence or by design. But they don't know how to block anything. Nothing even got slowed down during the Biden administration. Oh, he was the most successful president in history. Well, it's easy to say that when we're able to just go through and do whatever you wanted to because you got no resistance from the Republicans whatsoever. That's the frustrating part. You've got these Republicans out there, and they won't do a blooming thing. Where are they? That's what I want to know. And why aren't they doing more? And again, the word fight is a verb. I wish they would learn that. But I have said for a long time now that the Republicans would rather sit back in the back of the room and cry foul against the Democrats than actually govern. We have had years to come up with an alternative to Obamacare. Nothing is out there. Absolutely nothing. Charlie, the great Thomas Jefferson worried about the courts assuming too much power, and he should have been concerned about that. Absolutely. But again, I mean, you've got two sides playing completely different games. Let's go to Karen in Columbus, North Carolina. Karen, welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing? Charlie, this is the thing. This person that's stepping down in Tennessee and they're having that special election, this Republican, I'm suspicious of that. Why all of a sudden does this person have to step down and we have to get a new representative? I mean, something strange about that. And the other thing is, when the Republicans took over the House back in the day when we had Kevin McCarthy and all that good stuff,
yeah.
Why didn't they do some type of investigation on that January 6th? What happened with that? Why didn't the Republicans jump in there and investigate that January 6th debacle, what's it called, the January 6th committee?
Yeah.
They should have done that right away.
Sure they should have.
Yeah, because they're corrupt. And why is this guy stepping down in Tennessee? What's that all about?
Well, it's not just that. We've got Republicans stepping down all across the board, Karen. I appreciate it. I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to win. Maybe they're just giving up. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie.
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9,
WORD.
the voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome back to the program on this Monday evening now. Let's go to the WRD talk line. We'll talk to Dog in Anderson. How you doing, my friend?
Blessed to be here. Hopefully you had an awesome Thanksgiving. I hope the kids really had a great time.
Yeah, they did.
And,
They got plenty of turkey, and it was great, and they just were spoiled rotten. Yes, sir. Hope yours were too.
Oh, yeah. They had turkey, rice.
Oh, nice.
They had pumpkin.
Nice.
Cranberry. And dog food.
There you go. That's perfect. What's up, man?
Anyway, we're reliving 2016 again, apparently, with Trump.
Yeah.
Because he's got so many people attacking him and everything he's doing. I think he needs to go back to 2018 and activate the National Guard and the military to clean the house from the top to the bottom, and we can get rid of all the illegals and everything all at one time because they won't be able to hide.
Sure they do. They're hiding them. That's what they're doing that for them.
And the Muslims are like in Texas, they got 50 mosques there.
Yeah.
And Michigan and everywhere around. They're just New York. They're taking over everything. And they're openly saying what they're going to do to us.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I wish they would come to South Carolina. We can show them what America really is.
We have got a, what do we have? Islamville? Don't we have that here in South Carolina? Dog, I appreciate it. Yeah, we've got an enclave of Muslims here in South Carolina. They don't seem to cause too much trouble right now, but there you go. So what is it about these illegal aliens that they're so enamored with? They literally believe that they are better citizens than you. Whenever they talk about illegal aliens, what are the words? Oh, these are hardworking family people. In fact, Josh Stein up in North Carolina just sent out condolences, literally sent out condolences because a 23-year-old illegal alien was deported. Illegal alien. Now, this person came here when they were 14 years old. Are you ready for this? This is going to blow your mind. This person came here when they were 14 years old. They graduated high school in the United States of America. Cannot speak a word of English. How does that happen? How do we allow anyone to go through the entire high school experience and come out on the other side and not be able to speak English? Because they're catered to. I will guarantee, now this is up in North Carolina, I will guarantee you that the classes they took were all out. They never needed to learn to speak English. They never needed to. It was not a prerequisite. It was given to them. Every class that they took was taught in Spanish. Everything was taught in Spanish. And they were able to graduate high school and not speak a word of English. Then they were able to go out and buy a home. How does that happen? And then they were found out at the age of 23 that they're an illegal alien, and now they're being deported, and Josh Stein sends his sympathies. You need to be asking about your school system in North Carolina. You North Carolina folks, have you heard of this? Have you heard of people being able to go all through all of their high school, all of their any type of school, K through 12, and not be able to speak English? How prevalent is this in our society? I haven't been to high school since the day I graduated, so I don't know what's going on in those places anymore, but it's a heck of a lot different than when I got there. Right? So now we've got There's an ICE official with sources inside the New York Police Department, and they are saying that the commissioner's office is deliberately leaking details of ICE raids to illegal aliens. Not just to the press, but directly to the anarchist activist networks. So therefore, mass protesters are swarming the locations within minutes. They're blocking federal agents and forcing operations to be abandoned. That happened Saturday on Canal Street. A bunch of ICE agents were actually barricaded into a parking garage, and they were not allowed to leave. These are intentional leaks that are designed to create dangerous standoffs, and according to the source, put officers, agents, and civilians in serious risk of injury or worse. Now I want you to listen to a New York City council member talking about her fair city.
Hi everyone, I'm Councilmember Shahana Hanif. I represent neighborhoods in Brooklyn, including Kensington and Park Slope. I want to thank the protesters that said ICE is not welcome in our city. Their heroic demonstration shows that New Yorkers keep each other safe. What my colleague, Councilmember Sandy Nurse, shared about our sanctuary laws and NYPD breaking that law, violating that law, we as legislators are working on passing my bill into 214, the New York City Trust Act. When we see demonstrations like yesterday by the violent, terrorizing police department.
The violent, terrorizing police department. Unbelievable. Let's go to Jeff in Henderson. Jeff, you taught in high school in North Carolina?
I did.
Is it possible for someone to go through high school and not speak English?
There is a possibility of it. So if a student needs accommodations, they give it to them. There's a whole lot of protected education and stuff like that. And so if you come to the school and you are not an English speaker, then you're classified as an English language learner. And so they have to take like ELL classes. And the idea is that they eventually learn to speak English as part of their education. Now, what you normally see is that if they come over in elementary school, especially really young, like kindergarten, first grade, they speak English. One of the things is they don't have like a lot of the nuance and different understandings of the English language because they don't get it at home and through aunts and uncles and stuff.
Right.
But a lot of them, if they come over in middle school and high school, they very often it will be very remedial English. Like they'll know enough to get by, and they do okay. And another thing is there are students that we had that could understand things you're saying, and they could even write in English.
Yeah.
But they could barely speak the language. So there's all kinds of different ways to learn the English language, but not everybody becomes proficient in it for sure.
There you go. All right, Jeff, I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Let's go to Rob in Forest City. Rob, what's on your mind?
Charlie, first-time caller.
All right, you get the Christmas first-time caller bell. There you go.
Sweet, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, one thing that I'm finding really absurd is like Asheville and Greenville, they don't want to, their holiday lights display is what they call it. They're not wanting to call it Christmas lights. Yeah. And that just irks me. So I really am not going to give them any of my business. So I just wanted to say that, put it out there.
All right, I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. In fact, there's a, I think it was out in Seattle. They had a Christmas tree, but they took down, they did away with the word Christmas, and now they're just calling it the tree. The tree. I'm telling you, folks, there's a war going on. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Streaming stimulating talk and breaking news on your phone 24/7 on the Odyssey app. You're on the drive with the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Well, now they don't even want us to defend ourselves from dangerous drug traffickers from Venezuela. They do not want to do it. President Trump, Pete Hegseth, destroying these drug running boats. And now all these people look like, oh, this is unconstitutional. Well, it's not. I want you to listen to this exchange. It's pretty telling.
Interjects members of Congress into the chain of command. They have no business in the chain of command. And yet that's what they did. And that's why what they did was so wrong.
So I just want to remind people about what happened in 2011. Let's put up a picture of Anwar al-Awlaki, a cleric who was believed to be allied with terrorist groups. He was killed by a drone strike that was green-lighted by President Obama in Yemen back in 2011. He was an American citizen. Now, ordering the assassination of an American citizen anywhere in the world is something that's fraught with controversy. But I do not recall any Democratic members of Congress making a video like that in the aftermath of the al-Awlaki killing.
Because they didn't. President Obama droned an American citizen, not just one, actually 3 American citizens. Not a word was said. Then we'll go back to December 2021. This is John Kirby on MSNBC.
How does it strike you that no one is held accountable? Because I know how it strikes a lot of people around the world that you can get away with murder and nobody's punished for it.
I do understand that. We appreciate that not everybody's going to support this decision. What I can tell you is we looked at this thing very, very comprehensively. And again, we acknowledge that there were procedural breakdowns. Processes were not executed the way they should have been. But it doesn't necessarily indicate that that an individual or individuals have to be held to account for that. But look,
is there discipline inside the Pentagon at all? I mean, maybe there are no charges brought up, but is anyone demoted or disciplined for what happened that day?
What we are going to do, there's not going to be individual discipline as a result of this, Willie. But what we are going to do is learn from this, and we're going to enact and improve our procedures and our processes to try to make sure this doesn't happen again.
So you kill innocent civilians. No disciplinary action. You drone an American citizen. No disciplinary actions. You've got drug runners actively bringing drugs into the United States. Now, all of a sudden, they're calling for heads to roll. Representative Jimenez was on Fox News, and he talked about this.
Congressman, there are now growing calls for an oversight hearing and investigation. Your thoughts on this?
Look, it just seems all strange to me that you get the Democrats coming out with a video saying, you know, do not follow illegal orders, and then all of a sudden you get this. Apparently, these are anonymous kind of whistleblowers that's saying that something happened here. So, you know, I smell a rat here. I'm pretty sure that the Secretary of Defense had nothing to do with something like that, and it's just a way of you know, distracting from what really happened in D.C. You know, last week, where you had the murder of one National Guardsman and then the wounding of another by you know an Afghan refugee, and
he's absolutely right. So Afghan national opens fire, kills one National Guardsman, grievously wounds another. And what did the Democrats do? Oh, look here. Look over here. Look over here. What's going on? Look what's going on. And this might, like Jimenez said, might have been planned. Let's go to Reed in Greenville. Reed, welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. What's up?
Okay, 2 quick comments. I think that National Guard have been doing things in south of the border and interdiction for a really long time, because I think it was over 30 years ago. I remember talking to a guy that was in the National Guard, and when he got back from his duty, his deployment, he said that he got shot at down in South America or in Central America whenever they were in a helicopter doing something And so he's pretty sure that it was, drug-related stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't tell me exactly. Anyway, that was 30 years ago or more. The other thing is, I think that the Democrats were doing their video on illegal orders to maybe set the stage so that the military takes no action whenever Antifa decides to start taking people out.
You might be right about that. It could be setting something up for the future. And well, in fact, that's what Kelly said. That's what Mark Kelly said, because he will never say that there were any illegal orders given by Trump. I appreciate it, Reed. In fact, Mark Kelly said there were no illegal orders.
Sort of flimsy legality that was being offered during the briefings. Were these sort of strikes that are now in the news what you were making reference to when you posted that video telling members of the military that they needed to feel okay just obeying orders that they felt were illegal?
Based on who this president is and who the Secretary of Defense is, and specifically things that the president has said in the past and things he was talking about doing in the future. Let me give you an example. 2016, he's talking about something on a debate stage that was clearly illegal. And he was reminded by Brett Baer from Fox News that that would be an illegal order. Military won't do that. You know what the president's response was to that? The military will not refuse my orders. Implying that even if they are illegal, they will not refuse them. He's also talked about shooting protesters in the legs. Then he's talking about deploying more troops to American cities and using those cities as training grounds. Do you know what that means? That means using the American people.
What an idiot. All right, we'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of nonstop breaking news and stimulating talk kicks off every hour
On the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas. Let your fingers do the talking.
Text the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line at 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
The Immigration and Nationality Act, Section 212F, has to deal with immigration. And here's the thing. A majority of the American people agree with President Trump on his immigration policies. In fact, Americans support President Trump's third world immigration ban by 21 points, 55 to 34. The American people, by and large, want Trump and the Republicans to dig in on anti-immigration. Dig in hard. Now, remember, it was during the first Trump administration that he banned immigration from certain foreign countries. And everybody think, he's a xenophobe. Oh, Donald Trump is a racist. This is a Muslim ban. That's all it is, and blah, 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 blah. And that's all we heard. But what they didn't tell you was this was the same 8 or 9 countries that Obama had banned from coming in. And the reason for that is they don't have a centralized government because they're not civilized, pure and simple. And when you don't have a centralized government, you don't keep tabs on people. You don't have things like birth certificates or arrest records or identification of any type. You don't have those things. And since you don't have those things, these people cannot be vetted. And because they can't be vetted, sometimes some really bad ones get in. But, and as I played for you that clip a little while ago of John Kirby, they didn't vet these Afghanis coming in. Let's go to Chris in Toccoa, Georgia. Chris, welcome.
Hey, Charlie. I want to stick in there. You know, the current hoopla is over blowing up those boats, and they found a Cobb County Superior Court judge in Georgia with multiple millions of dollars in his home and lots and lots of drugs. Then a few days later, they found another one, a senator for the D.C. for District of Columbia.
Right.
And took a bunch of drugs out of his office and money and all of it, and lots of stuff. But what's interesting to me, though, is their computers showed that they were cartel members.
Aha. Well, I don't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt that one bit.
I'd love to see somebody with more savvy look up all the different kinds of arrests that are happening right now. You know, this is like kudos to the FBI because they popped both of these guys.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, those judges, the cartels, once they get their claws into you, man, there's no letting go. I appreciate it, Chris. And you can make a ton of money because they don't just come in and threaten you. They threaten your family. They threaten your loved ones. You see, that's what the president is trying to stop. And that's what the Democrats don't want stopped. And whenever they do this, I always ask myself, why don't they want to stop it? Why don't they? Why do they support illegal immigration so much? Why are they so far? Well, we know the answer to that. It's the world's biggest voter drive. It's also a good way to overtax our system on social services, collapse those systems, bankrupt this country, and it will be easier to usher in socialism/communism/Marxism. It'll be easy. It's the Cloward-Piven strategy. We all know about that. So why are they so against us attacking drug runners? I don't get. It was Chris Matthews that said over on CNN, and I think it was MSNBC at the time. which I was surprised he said. But Chris Matthews said that President Trump is making Democrats defend the indefensible. So President Trump comes along and says, listen, I'm banning all these people from Afghanistan. And all these folks are out there, they're like, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't. Well, yeah. The Immigration and Nationality Act, Section 212F, this was posted by President Trump over on Truth Social. Whenever the president finds that the entry of any aliens or any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interest of the United States, he may, by proclamation, and for such a period of time as he shall deem necessary, suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens as immigrants or non-immigrants, or impose on the entry of aliens any restrictions he may deem to be appropriate. Nowhere in the Immigration and Nationality Act, Section 212F, does it say, with the approval of anybody. This is the president's decision all on his own. All on his own. And that is guaranteed to him, by the way. Guaranteed. He can do it. He can say, listen, I don't want any Canadians coming into this country. Done. He could say that. But all these, and you're going to find some judges that are going to be like, oh, you can't do that, Donald Trump. And we all know they will. And it'll be suspended for a time. Then it'll go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will read that section, and they'll go, oh, yes, he can. And it'll start all over again. All of these things are just delay tactics. They're delay tactics, hoping that the Democrats win the midterm elections. That's what they're really looking for. And if that happens, you're going to see impeachment after hearing, after investigation. And by the way, what happened to the Epstein files? Why aren't the Democrats screaming for those anymore? Where did all of that noise go? Can somebody please tell me? Oh, I believe I know. Because we found out that Hakeem Jeffries was soliciting money, his campaign soliciting money from Jeffrey Epstein. We found out that George Stephanopoulos and Katie Couric had dinner with Jeffrey Epstein after he got out of jail. And we found out that Stacey Plaskett was getting text messages from Jeffrey Epstein during the Michael Cohen hearing. And all of a sudden, just like magic, all of that disappears. All of that disappears. And now when we talk about a color revolution that's going on, we're talking about the overthrow of the Trump administration from within. I want you to listen to Hakeem Jeffries.
The one thing that should be clear to all of these Republican extremists and sycophants and the people who are either actively involved in corruption, violating the law, engaged in extrajudicial activity, is that the statute of limitations for any crimes being committed now 5 years. It will extend well beyond the end of the Trump administration.
So another threat from the Democrats to jail people. And they want to talk about jailing your political opponents. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
This is Lee Rogers. Be the first to break the news. Share your story at news@989WORD.com.
One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Well, Somali fraud going on in Minnesota. I mean, it is huge. $1 billion is what they've been doing. There was this one guy, feeding our future fraudster in Minnesota. He's been sentenced to 10 years in prison. Ben Majid Nuir, a Somali immigrant, and his co-defendants, they alone stole $47 million in this part of this scheme. $47 million. Now, when you think about Somalia, I mean, what great invention is coming out of Somalia? Can anybody tell me what great, Yeah, I can't think of one either. Let me tell you something. Excuse me. Sorry, got choked there. Let me ask you another question. What great architecture has come out of Somalia? Any? No, can't think of any. What great modern day advancement has come out of Somalia? Can anybody think? No, you can't think of one either. No, I can't either. Somalia and Somalis are notorious for fraud, theft, and piracy. Okay? That's what they're notorious for. So would you imagine that a culture that is based on fraud, theft, and piracy could come here to the United States and assimilate peacefully? No, of course not. Your thoughts are they're going to come here and they're going to try to do the same thing here that they did over there. So what they were doing in this one case, they were going into these autism centers. All right. So they go in to the autism center and they tell the kid, all right, you just sit there and don't say a word. So they would go in and they would claim their child is autistic. Sorry, I have a little cough here. They would claim their child is autistic. And they would give them money. And they're like, hey, this is pretty sweet. So then they would leave that autism center and they would go to the next one and they would say, hey, our child is autistic. And they would give them money. And they would hit all of them. And they started doing this on a regular basis. Well, then some of these autism centers, they started to catch on to it. So what the Somalis did, knowing Tim Walz and knowing the government of Minnesota, they went to the governor and they said, listen, we need Somali-based autism centers because only they know the struggles that Somalis go through with autism. These people, they're staffed by white folks. We can't allow that. They don't know what we're going through. It's got to be staffed by Somalis. So the state of Minnesota said, oh, my God, my golly gee, in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, we agree with you. So we're going to open up Somali autism centers. And they were like, yeah, here we go. So then they would use those Somali autism centers. And just back on, I don't know, November the 28th or so, the total of this fraud was about $400 million. Well, after they did a little looking into this, they found out that it was much greater than that. Somali fraud in Minnesota was actually upwards of $1 billion. So how are they getting here? How are these Somalis coming to America? Oh, well, that's easy. That's real easy. But for that, you've got to blame the Lutheran services. Yeah. Lutheran Social Services. There's a non-government organization headquartered in Minnesota. They're getting paid $2,375 for every Somalia immigrant they bring into the United States. They're the ones that are doing it. Lutheran Social Services. So why are they coming over here in the first place? That's what we would like to know. Well, it turns out that our government was actually funding a dictatorship in Somalia. You know, that whole Black Hawk Down thing. But overall, Somalis don't have a right to be in America, especially North Dakota and Minnesota. They don't integrate into society. They carry over their clan mentalities. And that's just the way they do. Money is a one-time reception and placement grant of $2,425 per refugee. That's actually gone up, paid by the State Department to cover immediate arrival costs, airfare, reimbursement, first month's rent, furniture, airport pickup. This money is not supposed to be for profit for the NGO, but you know it is. In Minnesota, federal funds totaled $4 million for 10,000 refugees in 2018. Lutheran Social Services is one of 10 national voluntary agencies contracted by the U.S. State Department to handle logistics for refugees. Let's go to Lucas in Piedmont. Lucas, welcome.
Hey, Charlie. Happy Monday, and
Yes,
hope you had
sir.
a good Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. You too, man. What's going on?
So I told your producer I wanted to talk about Mogadishu, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Just, to kind of highlight it. It's amazing and eye-opening to see how much fraud and how much political violence and lack of accountability has come out of Minnesota itself just over the last several months. And, I mean, in the long run, thank God we dodged a bullet there because, Tim Walz, who can't seem to be held accountable or responsible for his own actions,
right,
went on news media and was questioned about all the fraud that's been going on. And, of course, you can't deny it anymore. He tried to blame the Trump administration and, oh, well, we didn't really have any insight in this, so we can't hold ourselves at fault. But then this is the guy who, was told, hey, you guys are getting ready to deploy, so he pulled the plug and retired out of the military as well. So, you've got Ilhan Omar, who is now being investigated for fraudulently bringing her brother into the country.
Yeah.
And I mean, the fact that she's a representative of a state where she's told constituents that Somalians and Somalia are her main focus rather than the American people and the constituents who voted her in.
Yeah.
The Minneapolis mayor race, thank God that went the way it did.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want a Captain Phillips situation there in that city. But it shows how bad that even Tim Walz is at managing his own state. And we almost elected him vice president of the United States.
I know. It was scary, Lucas. I appreciate it. So Tim Walz was actually asked about the fraud in Minnesota. And you know what he wanted to talk about? President Trump's MRI. We'll have that next. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Tara, Bill, Charlie, Joey, and me, Mike Gallagher. We lead the conversation each and every day on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie.
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, let's go to the WORD talk line. We'll talk to Janice in Gastonia. How you doing, Janice?
I'm doing fine, Charlie. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving holiday.
It was fantastic. Hope you did too. What's going on?
I sure did. I wanted to ask you, have you ever heard of the McCarran Waters Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1952?
I have heard of it, but you're going to have to refresh my memory. It's been a minute.
Okay. Apparently, this was a law that was in place to try to cover our bases about having foreign agents become elected officials in our government.
Yeah.
And back in the 90s, they actually quietly revoked that law when our illustrious DNC leadership was just still wet behind the ears.
Yeah. Yeah. They also did the same thing with the law that said you can't use propaganda on the American people. And boy, they've been using both of those to the hilt, Janice. I appreciate it. Robert is in Mills River. Robert, what's going on?
I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, Charlie.
Yes, sir. I hope you did too. What's going on?
Well, I just think that these judges that put these criminals back out on the street, and I was in New York back when I was young, and the cops there even said, they put the criminals, said they'll be there on a serious charge of rape or something. And
yeah,
but they'll see them out on the street, and it's the judges. And really, I think these judges that put these criminals back out on the street, like the little gal down there in Charlotte that got killed, the little Ukraine gal, and then you got this and it got burned up in Chicago. I really think they put them out on the street. They ought to be held accountable.
You're exactly right. They should be held accountable, Robert. We've got to do something about that. We've got to do, but you get a lot of these people in the state legislatures, they don't want to touch it. They don't want to touch this. That is the third rail politically. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm the person that put this person on the bench. I might look bad. I better not do anything about that. Well, we find out that Tim Walz is, and some people are saying he's complicit on the corruption that's going on in Minnesota. Remember, this guy ran for vice president of the United States with Kamala Harris. And we're finding out that his state government is one of the most corrupt in the entire nation. Absolute fraud. In fact, there was a whistleblower. Remember, the Democrats love whistleblowers, unless they blow the whistle against them. The Minnesota Department of Human Service employees had a Twitter page. And they said, Tim Walz is 100% responsible for massive fraud in Minnesota. We let Tim Walz know of fraud early on, hoping for a partnership in stopping fraud. But no, we got the opposite response. Tim Walz systematically retaliated against whistleblowers using monitoring, threats, repression, and did his best to discredit fraud reports. Instead of partnership, we got the full weight of retaliation by Tim Walz. Certain DFL members and in different mainstream media. It's scary, isolating, and has left us wonder who we can turn to. Well, obviously, it's not Twitter, because they no longer have a Twitter account. So now what do we have? How does Tim Walz respond to all this? Well, first he came out and said, no, this wasn't the Somalians. This wasn't the No, this was organized crime. Well, he's right about one thing, because the Somalis are very organized in their corruption. They're very organized in their fraud. So in a little bit of a way, he was right about that. But they're the ones responsible. And they knew about it in Minnesota. And in fact, if you didn't go along with the fraud, they would threaten to label you with being a racist. And in Minnesota, That's a big no-no. It is a death knell for your career. So other people helped out as well. So now what does Tim Walz go to? When he's been caught, when it's not organized crime, he's now deflecting over to President Trump's MRI. Now, President Trump had an MRI. It was 6 months after his last checkup. And people are asking, why? Wait, hold on a minute, Charlie. Charlie, why is Donald Trump getting an MRI 6 months after his exam? Do you tell me why? There's something wrong with him. He's probably going to die on us, Charlie. You want me to tell you why? You want me to tell you why it was 6 months? I'll tell you why. During his physical, we found out that President Trump had a chronic venous insufficiency. That is a lack of blood flow to the legs. So, because there's lack of blood flow to the legs, sometimes you get fluid building up in your legs. Now, President Trump is no spring chicken. And there's a lot of people out there in this country that have chronic venous insufficiency. As somebody who has had problems with his legs before, I had 2 blood clots. Well, 1 blood clot in my right leg in the greater saphenous. I had 1 blood clot in my left leg in the popliteal, and another blood clot in my left leg in the lesser saphenous vein. All 3 of those extremely painful. Guess what I had to do in 6 months? I had to go back and get an MRI. Oh, you got to be kidding me. So we found out that Trump had a venous insufficiency, and his doctor, and I'm just guessing here, his doctor said, listen, why don't you come back in 6 months? We'll do an MRI and check, make sure everything's okay. Stan, how many times have you been told by your doctor to come back in 6 months? Plenty of time. Well, the White House has issued a memorandum that says, as part of President Trump, Donald J. Trump's comprehensive executive physical advanced imaging was performed because men of his age group benefit from a thorough evaluation of cardiovascular and abdominal health. The purpose of this imaging is preventative, to identify issues early, confirm overall health, and assure he maintains long-term vitality and function. President Trump's cardiovascular imaging is perfectly normal. There is no evidence of arterial narrowing, impairing blood flow, or abnormalities in the heart or major vessels. The heart chambers are normal in size. The vessel walls appear smooth and healthy, and there is no sign of inflammation or clotting. Overall, his cardiovascular system shows excellent health. His abdominal imaging is also perfectly normal. All major organs appear to be healthy and well perfused. I don't know what that means. Everything evaluated is functioning within normal limits with no acute or chronic concerns. This level of detailed assessment is standard for an executive physical at President Trump's age and confirms that he remains in excellent overall health. Well, if it is normal, why did we not know about Joe Biden's prostate cancer? Why didn't we know about that? Or did they know about it, and did they hide it from you? That's the more likely story. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Total consciousness for the afternoon swoon. You've tapped into the Charlie James Show.
The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Well, I tell you what, hey, thanks to everybody online that told me what perfusion was. I had no idea. It means they're getting enough blood. So President Trump has perfect presidential perfusion. How about that? So good for him. Good for him. Well, Thanksgiving, ate my share. I was pretty happy. I only gained 2.5 pounds. This could be a record for me. But I was feeling really, man, I tell you what, the day after Thanksgiving, I was feeling heavy. And I complained to my wife. I said, I feel like I have really packed on the weight. And she said, don't eat anything fatty. And I said, what do you mean, like the dressing? She said, no, don't eat anything fatty. I'm like, oh, kind of hurt my feelings there a little bit. So let's go to Larry in Cleveland. Larry, welcome. Cleveland County,
how you
rather.
doing,
I'm
Charlie?
doing good, Larry. What's up, man?
Hey, listen, I just wanted to make a comment about these boats that carrying drugs getting blown up.
Yeah.
I think these liberals are just, they don't care. They don't care. They're bringing stuff over here to destroy our country.
Yeah.
Get into these kids, and we've suffered a loss through drugs this month. We had a family that died because of drugs.
Yeah.
And I say, blow them up.
There you go.
Blow them up.
I agree with you 100%, Larry.
Blow them up. I mean, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
That's exactly right. I don't have a problem with that. They've been labeled a terrorist organization, and we have the right to defend ourselves. Let's go to Chuck in Mills River. What's going on, Chuck?
Oh, man, you really don't want to know that, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. How'd that turkey turn out, buddy?
Really good.
I missed the first part of the show.
Really good. Turkey turned out great. The dressing turned out great. Everything was perfect. Yes, sir. I hope yours was.
That's awesome. Oh, no, my in-laws showed up, so it was ruined.
Wah, wah,
doesn't matter
wah.
how good the turkey doesn't matter how good the turkey was. Anyway, hey, I just what you're talking about the Muslims. Rush talked about this a long time ago. And I think it's in Minnesota, and I was trying to look it up before I called you. There's a city, I think in Minnesota, that borders Canada. It's got a lot of Muslims there. The city in Canada has a lot of Muslims there. So there's no doubt that that's where that was going to come from. I've been preaching about this for years.
Yeah.
But and I'll move right on after this, but I think that every Christian should give every Muslim that they know a bookmark for their Quran made out of bacon. Other than that, moving right along.
Yeah. What's up?
Anyone in this audience, I'm just going to tell you this. I'm no prophet, and this is just. I think something big's going to happen either at Christmas or New Year's or right thereafter.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have some money to spend, like $500 on Christmas, never mind your kids, get a rifle. You can hand it down to them. You can tell them this is your Christmas present. Hand it to your 7-year-old. You can have it when you're 18 years old. Dude, rifles are dirt cheap right now.
Yeah.
Ammo prices are coming down. You got to look around. I personally don't buy anything off the internet because you have to use a credit card, and I always pay cash for ammo because it can't be tracked. That's why the IRS wants to do, the Federal Reserve wants to make everything digital. Buy it now. You can pay me now or pay me later. Sooner or later, this is going to be a big deal. And I'm telling you, the Mom Donnie thing and what you played earlier, the lady, what Nashville?
Yeah.
Nashville? Okay, yeah. It's not as full of rednecks as you'd think, country-loving rednecks. Last time I went there, it's a tourist trap.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, get yourselves a decent rifle. You can buy a 9mm, just a cheap little 9mm rifle. I mean, it's a handgun load, but it's a rifle, and a 9mm will reach out there.
Yeah.
9mm is cheap, and you can buy a cheap, high power, not high power, and anyway, they're cheap rifles, but they're fun to shoot, they're accurate, and you can hit things way out. And don't say I didn't warn you.
Firearms always a great Christmas present. Chuck, you're
Isn't
exactly
it?
right. Absolutely. I appreciate it, buddy. And yes, we do say Christmas around here. We say Christmas in my house. I don't care what they do in London. In London, at one of their Christmas markets, they have now not called it a Christmas market. They're calling it a Christmas get-together. And they have forbidden vendors to use the word Christmas. In Vienna, Austria, Muslims have surrounded Christmas markets there calling for jihad. Same thing going on in London. Same thing going on in Germany. Islamists are, look, they are rising up right now. I hope you don't think this is hyperbolic. They are rising up now in ways that we haven't seen before. When was the last time you saw a Christmas market with car barricades because somebody from the right was going to ram it? No, that's not. No. The past 3 years in a row, we've had some Islamist ram a Christmas market, killing people. Don't be surprised if it happens again. Do not be surprised. This is going on all over the world. And why wouldn't it? This is what they want.
The future is ours. Every ideal nightmare of a Muslim Europe will come true. They can be as mad as they want. I don't care. America will be a Muslim country. Russia will be a Muslim country. Islam will enter every house, inshallah. But we have to be a part of that change and never, ever apologize. We're unapologetic.
What we as Muslims want to implement here in the United States, we believe the Constitution should be replaced by the Quran.
First move that I will do, I will abolish the Constitution and I will establish the only logical and rational Constitution, which is the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
When it comes to spreading Islam on a state level, on a societal level, that method prescribed is jihad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed that the ones who don't accept the ruling of Islam, they must be fought. This is simply the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
If you don't accept the laws of Quran, simply you must be fought. That's going on now, going on all over the world. You had a Muslim that shot 2 National Guard members, Afghani national. And people are out there trying to disagree with Trump's order to stop third world countries from emanating or immigrating into the United States. I think it's wise. I think it's smart. They're vandalizing nativity scenes. They are not the religion of peace. They don't want to coexist. They don't want, let me say that again. They do not want to coexist. They want to dominate. They want to dominate. I don't know what it's going to take for people to wise up. Muslim immigrants are now going to Christmas markets all over the UK trying to convert people to Islam, even children. Now, this is the same place where you can get arrested for praying to yourself silently. They will arrest you if you are saying a Christian prayer. Well, they'll arrest you if you're white. Let me just put it bluntly. If you don't look like a Middle Easterner and you are praying, they will arrest you. Who do we have, JJ? We got Greg. Greg, welcome. Are you there?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Where are all the so-called peaceful Muslims?
That's a good question.
That's what I want to know. Why aren't they up in arms about these so-called radicalized Muslims?
Why aren't they protesting? When did
Exactly.
did the Muslims get together and hold a mass protest at the site of the slaying of our National Guard member and the shooting of another? No, they did not. They did not. I appreciate it. It's a good point. But where did they hold a demonstration? This weekend in Boston, at the site of the Boston Marathon bombing. Now, this isn't a place that is widely celebrated. When you go to Boston, and I just happened upon it. There's a very small plaque that commemorates the Boston Marathon bombing. They don't want to draw a whole lot of attention to it. But that's where these Islamists are protesting. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
This is Mark Levin. Join me tonight at 7 following Charlie James for the Mark Levin Show, a News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Tap and type your message on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Let's go to the WRD talk line. We've got Mark Lynch, who is running for Senate here in South Carolina. Mark, basically the outlawing of Christmas is going on across this country, isn't it?
Yes. Appreciate you bringing up the topic of Islam and the infiltration into the United States, Charlie. And I want everybody to understand, as I've worked with an organization since 2014 that entered me into running for United States Senate, everybody has to understand, in the Quran, all Muslims are jihadists, and jihad is warring against all non-Muslims. And there's two methods of jihad: the sword in the surah verses, that's military warfare, or civilization jihad. That's where they take their enemies down by their own hands, that we've experienced and still are. And all Muslims are obligated to jihad. And their whole purpose is to establish a caliphate under Sharia law. I've seen the Sharia law constitution they want to drop in. And we've seen all of the attacks and everything heating up. And we've allowed, like we're talking about the Afghan evacuation.
Right.
And jihadists came into our country. And even Henry McMaster was one of 10 governors in the country that was allowing Afghan refugees to come into South Carolina. And I took our national security team that I've worked with to Columbia and presented to Henry, our governor, that you cannot vet these people. And we went through a 45-minute presentation, and nothing ever happened from that. So, in South Carolina, one of our first Muslim training camps was established in York, South Carolina, and it's called Islamville.
Mm-hmm.
They have about 132 militant training camps in America, and one of the first organizations that entered America was the Muslim Student Association, where they set up on every major college campus in America, indoctrinating students into Islam. When I ran for state senate in 2020, I exposed the green charter schools in America, and I had over 24,000 jihadists attack my Senate Facebook page the next day.
Wow.
Because that's another thing. Those are Fethullah Gulen schools from Turkey, where they're funneling money to Hamas and indoctrinating our children into Islam at a young age through hiding through STEM educational systems and charter schools. And we're paying for it through our budget in the state house. They took a lot of our House reps and state senators to Turkey years ago and wined them and dined them. And you and I and all of us in our state taxes are paying for civilization jihad.
And that's exactly what they want, Mark. So how do we fight back? I mean, number one, got to be informed. Number two, you got to pray, right?
Yeah, and like Trump has done with Antifa, they need to be named an enemy, and they need to be cut off from coming in here. And it's not just Afghanistan, it's Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Turkey, where any Muslim nation there is.
Yeah.
And Syria. And we've got to get them out. And they definitely don't need to be in Congress, like Ilhan Omar and Rita Tlaib and all these people that are enemies of our nation that hate America.
You are right. We do have to get them out. Mark Lynch, thank you so much for calling us this evening. We appreciate it. Want to go to Larry in Greenville. Larry, welcome. I'm sorry, Larry's in Greenwood. What's going on, Larry?
How much, Charlie? How you doing? Always
I'm doing
good to talk to you.
Well, thank you, sir. What's on your mind?
Hey, and I hope Mark's still listening, because he knows if he reads his Bible like I do every day. You was talking about what's the answer for this. There's only one answer, Charlie. I mean, when you read your Bible, I'm not saying this is how it has to be done, but they got to be banned from this country. I know, and that religion has got to be banned. I know it's supposed to be freedom of religion in this country, but our religion was based on Christianity and the belief in Jehovah and Jesus Christ. And in the Bible, it says that any country, any nation, back in, when you read your scriptures, there's many, many times when God told his people to go in and destroy every man, every woman, every child because they were worshiping other gods, making idols, building idols, wooden idols or whatever, and worshiping them. And God, when they do that, that's really bad. And, like I say, many times in the Bible where he told his people to go in and kill everybody and the reason he did that is because he didn't want any bad seeds, He don't want leaving anybody that believes in that type of religion or worshiping fake gods. Leaving just one is a bad seed to spread it again.
Well, there's certainly
that's why God did that.
That's the whole plan. They want to take over the world. They admit it. I believe them. Let's go to Clay and Anderson. Clay, what's your thoughts?
I was calling because I was listening to you talk about how they've declared jihad on us and everything. Well, if we're already at war with them, we could solve this problem really easily. All we have to do is wait for the height of Ramadan and drop a bomb right on them in the middle of Mecca, and we'll take about 75% of them out. They want to play the game. We can play the game.
That will never happen, but but I certainly understand your sentiment there. It just won't. I mean, weird things would have to happen. But, folks, we have seen weird things happen. And when you get people out there talking about jihad and talking about world domination and how – but have you noticed this? I was just kind of scrolling through during the break there, Twitter. Poland, where was this other place? Where was this? A beautiful Christmas market. Doggone it, where is it? Oh, you're going to find it. I think it's Croatia. These Western European countries, they don't have this problem. They don't have this fear of a radical Muslim driving through their Christmas markets because they don't allow that stuff. They don't allow it. And you only get what you allow. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
When Charlie's not teeing off on the left, he's teeing off on the links. You're in full swing on the Charlie James Show.
On News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Chat with Charlie.
800-905-0989. Save it on your phone.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, let's go to D and Thomasy. See what's on his mind. D, welcome.
Yes. Hey, Charlie, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, pal. What's going on, man?
Doing good. I just got a question, Charlie.
Okay.
Aren't this this debacle in Minnesota?
Yeah.
With the Somali $1 billion Somali
fraud case, yeah.
Yes. All right. Who exactly is on the hook for that? Would that be the state?
Yeah, right now what we know is that money was state money. As far as we know, there may be some federal dollars in there as well, but it was state money.
So, in other words, it's not necessarily on the back of the taxpayers at large.
I wouldn't rule all of that out because sometimes that money gets commingled, and it might well be that we find out that some federal dollars were also involved as well.
Well, exactly. Just, case in point, the Mamdani in New York promising this and that and this and that. And at the end of the day, people need to realize that those promises, if New York City fails in any way, just like with the Lehman Brothers, they're going to be ruled too big to fail, and it's going to be on the taxpayers' back.
Yeah, that is true. And it always falls on the taxpayer, doesn't it? I appreciate it, D. Let's go to Katie in Simpsonville. Katie, what's on your mind?
Oh, same song as you're working on. But my husband's military, and he brought home some stuff a good while back. There was a conversation between a couple of fighter pilots at a class, and these guys are all majors and above, so the English is very fluid. And two of the guys were talking about religion, one of them Muslim from Saudi, I think, and the other one an American. And they were talking about what was going on in Israel at that time. And the Muslim pilot made a comment about, oh, but in 1,000 years we will take them. Now, think about that one statement for just a moment. In 1,000 years we will take them.
Yeah.
We will own them. What's not to say that's happening right now, right here?
Yeah. Yeah, we have no idea.
Thank you.
We have no idea. I appreciate it, Katie. And that's the scary thing. That's the scary thing. And that's why I said what we are seeing is an uprising right now. That shooting in D.C., we've got, I will not be shocked if we have an incident at one of these Christmas markets. I told you about the demonstration by Muslims at the site of the Boston Marathon bombing. Got some new information on that. That was actually put on by Harvard faculty. They're the ones that organized that. The faculty at Harvard organized a demonstration. And remember, those were two Muslim brothers that pulled off that bombing at the Boston Marathon. And these faculty members at Harvard organized a demonstration at the site of that bombing. And it was just allowed. How did the city of Boston allow that sort of a demonstration at that place? How did they do that? Or more importantly, why did they do that? Why did they allow that to happen? You've got a lot of places in this country that are just rolling over and playing dead. It really is unbelievable. Let's go to Richard in Dallas. Richard, what do you think?
Well, I ain't commenting on that, Charlie. It's a little something different. I walked in a bank today. Listen, I walked in the bank today, walked up to the teller, nice lady, and there was a little sign there on the front of the teller machine, not a machine, anyway, it said this, FDIC, each deposit insured to at least $250,000.
Right.
This is what I thought was hilarious. Backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. Charlie,
Yeah.
this is true. I read this today in the bank. Have you been to a bank teller lately, man?
Yeah, I mean, I know. I've seen the sign.
Okay. I just thought it was, our country's what, $37 trillion in debt?
Yeah.
How in the world can they guarantee, your and my money being worth $250,000
I know.
each?
I know,
Okay.
but by golly, they say they can. I appreciate it, Richard. The irony there, I do understand it, absolutely. I do understand it. So, I don't know what we're going to do, folks. Things are absolutely nuts around here. But we have always got to guard ourselves. I posted a video over on X this weekend where I talked about the demonic symbolism that was all throughout the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And it was everywhere. I heard Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb just absolutely raving about this movie, the K-pop Demon Hunters, this television show. And they were talking about how 2 new characters were going to be there, and they were messengers between the human and the demonic world. My wife looked at me when we heard that. I looked at her and she said, "Did I just hear what I think I said?" Yeah, you did. But the thing is, I went back and I recorded because they were going to replay the parade at 2 o'clock. So I made sure that I recorded it because I wanted to be able to play that audio for you guys. Guess what wasn't in it in the recording? And I searched several times. They did not have that reference in it. So they put it out there on live television, talking about demonology, and then they took it out in the replay. I found that very interesting. And I had a lot of people talking about, oh, that's a good show, and I watch it with my kids, and there's nothing wrong. Well, and I'll use this analogy again. When you're going to poison somebody, you don't give them a bottle with a skull and crossbones that says poison on it. You bake it in a pretty cake, and you give it to them. When you open up the doors to demons, you never know what's going to come in. I wouldn't allow it in my house. I guarantee you that. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here. We will see you tomorrow. Y'all have a lovely evening. God bless. Buckle up. Bye, y'all.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour